Thank you for watching. My name is Glen Morgan, and this is We the Govern. Today we're going to be talking about a school superintendent put on administrative leave for stealing signs. So in the North Kitsap School District, Superintendent Evans was actually put on administrative leave last week after she was apparently caught stealing and destroying campaign signs on the way to her morning Rotary meeting. The drama continues, so let's get into the story. Now, regular viewers will know that we actually did a story last week about Superintendent Evans from the North Kitsap School District who was caught by local volunteers who were using game cameras, and she was actually caught stealing and destroying campaign signs that were put up by local residents who were opposed to the school district's proposed $242 million bond campaign to build and renovate more schools. Now, I've linked to that previous video down below in the video description, but just a quick recap for those new to the story. Oh, and just for the record, Superintendent Evans claims that she didn't do it, but we'll discuss the police report and other details that should make that claim seriously questioned by anyone who can actually think for themselves. So, just a 30-second background on this. The North Kitsap School District is located here in Western Washington on the shores of beautiful Puget Sound. It has about 5,000 students, and like many school districts around Washington state, this school district was asking the voters to approve a 20-plus year bond that was going to be paid for by property taxes in the district. And they want to spend this money, this taxpayer cash, to kind of build or upgrade more schools. And bonds, because they actually last basically for a generation, under Washington state's constitution, they actually take a 60% majority of the voters to approve or they fail. Now, sometimes, as in the North Kitsap School District, local citizens will organize opposition campaigns to the proposed bonds, and both supporters and opponents of the tax increase, they're going to be promoting their campaigns with signs just like any other political campaign. So the citizens who opposed the bond were actually noticing that their signs were frequently being stolen or destroyed at the very same time and actually same day every week. So they put game cameras out that would record the vandals and thieves who were actually taking or destroying their signs. And plus, they also got up early in the morning so that they could catch the thieves red-handed. Now, I really should say greasy-handed here because the citizens coated their signs with a green-colored grease that they hoped would be a theft deterrent. And this detail is actually important to the story. So this is what they did a few weeks ago, and this is why we have these videos of Superintendent Evans stealing or damaging the signs. There were actually 3 different videos that I've actually seen so far. Some of them were from angles that you can't be certain due to the quality of the camera that the thief vandal is the superintendent. Some are pretty clear and they actually show her face. However, the people waiting for the thief to show up also followed her truck. They took photos of her license plate, they followed her vehicle for part of the drive, and they found her vehicle parked at the Rotary meeting in Paulsbo just a few minutes later. And this combined evidence was enough to justify the police becoming involved in this investigation. And yes, it is actually illegal to interfere with an election by destroying or stealing your opponent's campaign signs, even in Washington, and even in Kitsap County. And even if you're a big government Democrat and you don't like the people who oppose you. And I know they do this all the time, but it is actually still illegal. Okay, so according to the Kitsap County Sheriff Office, the police report, which I've also linked to down below, deputies interviewed Superintendent Evans outside her Rotary meeting at the Sons of Norway building in Paulsbo, Washington. Now, I made one mistake in my last video on this subject last week, and I want to correct that mistake now. Superintendent Evans did not have opposition signs in her possession at the time of this police interview. However, in the back of her truck, she had grease from the signs, which also got on the police uniforms. And additionally, right next to her truck in the dumpster, the police found garden gloves coated with that same grease, as well as a campaign sign that was in the dumpster at that same time. So, additionally, the various videos were then provided to the police, and according to the police report, which you can read down below, the woman in the videos matched the description of the superintendent, and the jacket that she was wearing also matched the jacket worn by the sign thief on the videos. So she still denies the theft. But the school board was obviously concerned, and last week, the 5-member school board of the North Kitsap School District had a public meeting which was well attended by local citizens, parents, and property owners who were basically furious, understandably so, that Superintendent Evans, who's paid, according to the OSPI website, $284,000 per year, which is actually about $325,000 or more of our taxpayer costs if you include the benefits. She was caught and putting on such a bad example now for the kids. I mean, how can you attempt to lead a school district, presumably, where you're attempting to convince kids not to be thieves and criminals when you yourself are actually caught greasy-handed doing the same thing? So the school board officially put Superintendent Evans on leave, with pay, of course, pending some type of investigation that is ongoing, and this was actually by a vote of 4-1. Now, local Seattle area media have actually covered this case quite a bit, as has the traditional local paper and talk show hosts. So for most people in the state, the sign-destroying, sign-stealing Superintendent Evans, she's actually the only thing they even know about the North Kitsap School District. However, this leads to the next question, a question which might be answered before I'm even able to get this video launched. Will the proposed $242 million bond get enough voters to approve it? Now, I'm recording this video on Tuesday, February 13th, and the initial election results actually come out tonight at 8 p.m., so we'll have a pretty good idea at that time, but it generally won't help the cause of extracting more cash, more taxpayer cash, for a few decades if the supporters are actually caught greasy-handed, stealing and breaking the law to try to influence the outcome of tonight's election. However, I will make a slight prediction, and we can all see if I'm correct or wrong. If the bond does fail and the voters reject the tax proposal, I would predict that Superintendent Evans will be shopping her resume around somewhere else, possibly in another state very soon. If the bond is still approved, despite or because, perhaps kind of because of her election interference, then I would expect people to sort of forget and move on. Not the parents or the local residents as much as the school district leadership, who will then have a big pile of cash to spend. We're just going to have to see. However, regardless of the final result of Superintendent Evans' employment, their final employment status with the North Kitsap School District, this current story is only public because some local people in Kitsap County were actually willing to engage, show up, and stay involved. Local people did the work to document this situation, put up the game cameras, call the police, follow superintendent's truck to a Rotary meeting, and take photos, and then, of course, go to the school board meeting to express their frustration with paying a bureaucrat over $284,000 just to be a thief. Now, the lesson here, and I believe that we all can learn from this type of story, is that if you care, and if you want to make an impact, if you want to fix what's broken, and if you want to change the direction in which you see things going on around you, you have to engage. You need to stay involved. Voting is just a small part of this. Engaging and showing up makes a huge difference because, as I always say, and we see here in North Kitsap School District, the future belongs to those who show up. So keep on showing up out there.